Hey, boat monkeys. Today we got something different. Today we've got a fleet boat, one of I think 12 or 15 that we're going to be doing. The customer is super cheap and doesn't want us to spend very much time doing anything other than, quote, happying them up. By that, I think he just wants the water line cleaned up and a little protection on the sides, and he might want to get out some of these scratches and dings left by all the renters. Now, renters, and this is an analogy, are like barbers. Bald barbers. They don't respect your hair. People who rent a boat definitely don't respect that boat. In fact, I'll go ahead and say that. 9 times out of 10, it will come back with some form of damage that no boat owner would actually leave on the boat. But a renter, well, they just don't care. So, today, I'm going to call this my 2-beer boat. I am not really into it emotionally. You can tell from the tone of my voice that this is what I see as a waste of my time. That being said, there are a lot of you out there who are asking how you get started in a business like this and how you get practice. Call up a guy who's got a bunch of boats like this in a fleet and ask him, how much do you pay to have your boats detailed? Regardless of the answer, tell him you'll do it for less. And then have some fun. Play with it. That's exactly what we're going to do. Very first thing I got to do is take this stupid winter cover off. Let me get into that. Before you guys start hating on me for hating on this boat, just look at some of the stuff I'm seeing here. Spider cracks all through here. Big old dings and scuffs in the back. Let's go up forward and see what else we got. Oh, a gunnel. That's just, I don't know. Yeah. That, I guess, holds the boat together right there. So we got that. Oh, there it is again. Brilliant. And yeah, we'll just leave that alone. Deep scuffs up in here. Hey, more gunnel. Oh, and repair. This is how you repair gel coat right here. You just grab a piece of white tape and slap that on there. Yikes. Oh, some more gel coat repairs. Yay. All right. And big old gouge right there. She's pretty. Boom. All right, so let's see how fast we can do this. I'm gonna shoot for I guess I'm just gonna shoot for really quick. In the first part of this, I'm going to fast forward it just so you see everything. After that, I will run it a little bit slower and show you and tell you what it is I'm doing. Initially, while I have energy, I'd like to see just how long it takes to get this side of the boat done. So if you'll allow me to, I'll position you something like this and we'll get going. By the way, guys, this is going to be a different style of video. Today's kind of a day off. And I recently won my appeal. See how desperate my life is with detailing? Here's the back of my car. So there's 2 rotary buffers. This one here is set up with a twist-on pad backing plate. This one over here has the quick connect by 3M, and there's the pads that go with that right behind it with the connect adapter already in there. So these bins are basically pads. I got a bag for tools, obviously tons and tons of pads, and then in the front seat, well, the front passenger seat, I have most of my products. I also have some more soft clean rags down here, and way over here is an air compressor in case I accidentally want to do a ceramic coating. You didn't hear me say that, just saying. All right, guys, this is going to be what I'm going to refer to as a... So guys, let's go ahead and call this the 2-beer boat. Today, we've got a Deschutes Squeezy Rider West Coast IPA. I've had these before. It's a little fruity. It's got a nice citrus taste. And yes, that's a frosted glass because we're not uncivilized just because we're detailers. Oh, there we go. And if you notice the color coming out of there, clear pretty much. When there's a little bit, just the old swirl, and then when it comes out, it'll be a little bit milky, and that adds a little bit more texture to the beer. So Cheers. All right. Let's go. All right, the time now is 12:20. I'm going to get into this, and what you're going to see is me apply rather thickly a mix, and the mix is a little bit of heavy cut. Actually, it's a lot of heavy cut, and it's a little bit of 3M cleaner wax, and then that's added to a little bit, just a little bit, of either Flagship by Meguiar's or 3M's liquid wax with Scotchgard. And what I'm basically thinking as I'm applying this is rub it on, leave it on a little bit thick so that I have something to work with when I do get to buffing it. Part of the thickness adds to the absorption of the liquid wax into the pores of the gel coat so that it looks a little bit saturated and wet when I pull it off. Anyway, as soon as this is applied, I'm going to go ahead and grab some form of an extension cord as well as a buffer and a yellow wax pad. I use the yellow wax pads. I don't use the white ones. White ones are a little bit scratchy and they can be a little aggressive. Same thing on the hull. Basically, just put this stuff on rather thick. You want it to sit there, soak into the gel coat, as well as give you something that's on the surface for your buffer wheel to work with when you get to that point. I did not clean this boat. You can tell there's still a scum line on the water line. Later on, you'll see some dirt in the transom and the swim step. As long as it's not seashells or sand, I'm really not worried about it. The stuff that I'm doing is a lot more aggressive than any dirt left on the surface. Where you see me getting a little on edge with the buffer, those are places where there's a little scuff, there's a little mark, there's something there that didn't come off while I was applying the wax. And so I just want to give it a little extra time with the buffer wheel, a little extra pressure. I put it up on edge. But for the most part, right now, all I'm doing is letting the compound and the cleaner wax do their job and kind of scuff the surface up and give it a nice uniform finish. And then hopefully, if I do this right, I've got a little wax coating after that I can let sit for a little bit. I'll flip the pad over and I'll go ahead and buff the entire boat down one more time just to clean it all up. It usually looks pretty good. I'll let you sit back and enjoy some of this. There's no music because I keep getting copyright claims, which, damn. Anyway. Hey, while you're here, I can tell you about my appeal. I know you don't want to hear about it. Basically, a couple years ago, I went through what's kind of like a divorce in Washington State, and my ex denied that I even existed. 14 and a half years of a relationship, and somehow she claims that we never lived together and that we were just casually dating as a employee-employer relationship. And it had no meaning. So I've spent the last almost 2 years trying to argue that in front of a court, and finally got all the way to the Supreme Court. And the Supreme Court was like, yeah, you guys were definitely married-like, so we're going to go ahead and divide assets, which is really cool. I'm not going to lie, I'm kind of excited that my ex is probably about as constipated as she's ever been in her life. Oh well, I tried to be nice for about 3 months. I warned her, hey, this is going to get ugly and nasty, and if I have to, I'll take you to court, and I will open up everything that we have about each other, lay it out, put all the laundry in the street. There's not going to be any secrets left over. So that's where we're headed, and I've got the Labor and Industries case that went my favor. Just waiting for procedures at that. And I got another case, intellectual property. That one's going really well. Yeah, this is going to be my year. I can't wait. I guess I can also give you a little heads up. Some 3M reps are going to come out towards the end of April. And when they do, they're going to bring some new products and a new tool. I can't tell you what it is yet. I'm just going to let you know that I will be testing it and putting it through its paces. Also, they're going to come take a look at some of the stuff I do. And if there's a chance, a way that we can work together, I'm going to see if we can work together. There's a lot of things that I've learned in the last 15 years about boat detailing, and there's a lot of things that they know about the chemicals and stuff that we use to clean these boats. I think it's about time that the two of us, the two worlds, got together, and so that's exactly what they're planning. Also, I'd like to point out and apologize. When I set this camera up, you could actually see the entire boat. I'm not sure what happened, but it is what it is. Just trust me, I'm working on the transom. It's got a lot of scuffs back there. You know what? I can just pause and edit this out. Hold on one second. And look at that, movie magic. So I flipped the pad over to the cleaner side, and now I'm just going through the motions. I'm literally going through the exact same thing that I did before, just hardly at all. In other words, if I was putting maybe 8 out of 10 effort/pressure into the first pass, this is easily 2/3. So out of 10, like, I'm not even thinking about it. I'm just going through the motions, making sure that everything's level, smooth, and looks good. If I can then take a microfiber rag and wipe down the boat and it looks really good, well, ta-da, winning. And now, inspection time after wiping it down with a clean microfiber rag. I always use the plusher side of the microfiber rag when I'm wiping off a boat. The more condensed side I usually just use for cleaning things up. If you see anything you missed, go ahead and hit it with the cleaner wax real quick and then wipe it off with a microfiber towel. This side is just about done, yo. We're done. You want to see what this looks like? So it does have a swirl. You see this line that goes kind of diagonal right there. I'm hoping that that line and that shape of the swirl continues all the way down the boat. That's my goal. Now the sun's not really great to see all that, but trust me, it looks better when the swirl follows the lines of the boat. Let's check out this hull. You might have seen me take a little bit of wax right around that fender area. I wasn't able to bend the buffer to get in there as well as I wanted to. So I just came by with a little bit of wax, cleaned it up, and then wiped it off with a clean rag. As you can see, we cleaned up quite a bit up forward with just the product that we were using. There's the identical side with a few more scuffs over there. So the very next step is to clean up this water line, and it's basically going to be the same thing. A little bit of buffer, a little bit of elbow grease, and that'll clean that up. So let's take a look at the time. It's now a little after 1, so that didn't take all that much, maybe 40 minutes. If you really need to, you can do it rather quickly. I don't suggest it. You guys know me. I like the compound wax routine a lot better. But at the same time, if you're in a pinch and you need to get something that's looking like this to look like this, it doesn't take all that long. The problem is, for all you people paying attention, I mixed up a couple products. Those products will generally only work for this boat. Now, I can keep that bottle around, and if I find another boat that's kind of similar and somebody wants a really quick job, I can whip it out, but I'll have to adjust the mix a little bit more compound, a little bit more cleaner wax, a little bit more liquid wax. Okay, so the very next thing I'm going to do is actually walk you through how I do this. I'll start kind of like I did on the other side. We'll start on the top side. I'll put the product on, and then I'll work on the hull, and we'll go about how to buff that off and deal with it. Cool? All right, cool. So we've got one side of the boat done. That was 40 minutes. And next, up on the chopping block, is a Melvin IPA. If you guys haven't had Melvin, this particular IPA poured into a glass is almost as good as it is on tap. And on tap, it's ridiculous. Okay, and right about the end, give the old swirl. Pick up that yeast from the bottom of the can. Pour that milky stuff in there. Ooh, buddy. That's a pretty beer. Cheers. All right, let's get into this. All right, so let's talk about this mix and how I'm doing this. I'll set the beer over here for a little bit. The razor blade doesn't need to be here. And you'll notice I haven't washed this boat. I haven't cleaned it. I am using my microfiber towel, but I'm using the short matte side, not the fluffy side. Cleaned. That's all you got to do, guys. Besides, the stuff that I got in here, way more aggressive than that. So let's talk about what I've got in here. I have a little bit of heavy cut. probably up to about here. Then I have 3M cleaner wax, probably up to about here. The very top layer, probably about a ½ inch, would be 3M's liquid wax with Scotchgard. I could have also used Meguiar's by Flagship or Pro Polish. I simply like the liquid wax by 3M. They use the same chemicals as their lubricants in their cleaner wax so that they don't interact with each other. There's no weird pH issues. I also leave a little bit left over. It's empty. I don't fill the whole bottle for a number of reasons. One, this boat's not going to require a full bottle. Two, what if this side's worse than that side and I need a little bit more cut? I'll add, and I have room to, add a little bit of compound. So that's why I do that. Or if the shine is there, but when I'm done buffing it, it just doesn't have the luster of the other side, I'll add a little bit more wax. If I need a little bit more smoothing action so that I'm not seeing the cuts from the heavy cut, I'll add a little bit more 3M cleaner wax. So that's how I'm doing this. I'm just using a white terry cloth towel, and I apply thusly. It's pretty simple stuff. I literally pour it on and then work it in. If I see some dirt like this here, there's a little scuff, I might give it an extra little thumb rub, see if I can get that out, but mostly I'm just putting it on. I'm mostly just putting it on, and I'm letting it soak into the boat. Some scuffs don't come out, some are scratches and they're really deep. If you can see the scuff right about here. Let me get you down. Okay, there's a scuff right here. Some of it's going to come out, some of it won't. Same thing with this one here. Maybe I should have taped off that gas line. Sorry, the gas filler cap. On a professional level, yes, I should have. As a detailer for this guy, no, I should not have. I'm cool with not doing it. All right, so a little bit more rubbing here. Maybe we can get this out. Every pass takes a little bit more off. I guess the reason I don't focus too much on the scuffs is I know I'm coming back over this with a buffer, and that buffer is going to be doing a lot more physical action on the surface of this than my hand can. So I just move on. But this is how much wax I usually put on. And with this process, you put on a lot more material than you actually normally would. And the reason for that is twofold. One, I use a yellow pad. I don't use a white wool pad when I'm grinding on a mix. I find that the white pads scratch a little bit more than I want them to for a finish. The yellow pads, they do gum up, not gonna lie. They get pretty knackered up. However, you just let them sit for a couple days and they dry out, and then you can spur them out and use them again. This pad that I'm using today, I probably won't use for a number of maybe 2 weeks. I'll let it thoroughly dry out, and then I'll spur it at some point to get all that excess wax that's built up in there out of it, and then it'll be ready to polish again. And I'm not really doing the inside of the boat, but there's no reason I can't hit that inside edge, right? The owner of this boat has decided to be frugal and reuse this winter cover. So he's asked me specifically not to destroy it. So if you're wondering why I've got it just hoisted up over the cockpit area, he's also not paying for any sort of interior detail. He just wants the outside done. Yay! So I don't have to worry about the inside, and when I'm done, I'll just pull this cover down, and that'll be that. I don't have to worry about it. So here's another scuff. I'm going to try to get some out of it, but if it doesn't come out in the first 30 seconds, don't worry about it. I've got a buffer. switch hands here and get a better angle in this piece up here. There we go. Lots and lots of product. This stuff's going to sit here for a little bit. I want it to soak in. I also want to have enough compound on the surface that when my wheel gets there, if I see anything that I need to grind out, that I've got something to grind it out with. And that's why I put it on so thick, in case you're wondering. Actually, it's one of the reasons. The other reason is I want it to soak in. I want the wax, the chemicals and the oils and everything that are in the cleaner wax and the liquid wax to literally soak into this gel coat and saturate it. So I'll let it sit here for a little bit as I put the wax on the hull. And when I'm done with that, I should have a decent saturated surface that once I cut the oxidation off of it will still leave a saturated surface behind. And that saturated surface leaves it glossy. It's all the pores in the gel coat basically being filled up. Okay, as an example, I like this mix. By the way, another little thing, you've noticed I've ripped the label off. This is so if anyone in the shop grabs this bottle and thinks, oh, it's 3M cleaner wax. No, it is not. It's got a mix. You need to open it up and see what it is. So on the other side, on the water line, I noticed that it took a little extra grinding to get that off. I'm simply going to take a little extra heavy cut. And put it on there directly, and then I'll take my handy dandy super applicator, which is nice and wet now, and I'll give it a little aggressive application here. So I'm scoring the surface, getting it ready for the buffer when I do get here. And the chemicals inside the 3M Heavy Cut are actually starting to break down the chalky oxidized stuff on the surface. So even though I'm walking away from this, not completely cleaning it up, it's making it easier for me to clean up in just a little bit. By the way, guys, this is one of the things I hate. I hate having to do anything that doesn't require a buffer. If I have to do it by hand, it just makes me feel old, kind of, I don't know, manual labory, which I know I am, but I don't like to feel like it. I like to try to think that most of what I do is kind of an art, and it just happens to suck that it takes a little extra elbow grease sometimes. But this is what you have to do to half-ass a boat, and that's what I'm doing. I'm half-assing a boat. If you guys think that this is the way to detail a boat, no, you're dead wrong. This is just a way to kind of, I don't know, fill the gap between actually doing a detail and not doing a detail. All right, now that that's on there, I'll work on the rest of the application of this product for the hull. Again, we're putting a ton of product on here. I mean, it is sloppy. This is gross. This is almost like, I don't know, it's like finger painting. You know it's going to leave a wet surface, and that's okay. You just have to get used to that. This is a lot more product than anyone ever puts on a boat, or anyone ever should put on a boat. But when you're trying for a mix, you need the extra compound wax and cleaner wax on the surface to give you enough time to let A, the compound work itself onto the gel coat and start cutting some of the oxidation, B, to let the cleaner wax have a chance to smooth out some of the cuts left behind by the compound, and You have to have enough wax left behind after all the grit and hard particles have been worked out of the material to seal the gel coat and polish it up a little bit. Whenever I'm working with a scuff, I always try to go in the lines, the direction of the scuff. If you go sideways, you impart a bunch of wax and stuff and it fills it up. When you go with it, you're able to pull some of that out and smooth the edges of the scratch so that you don't see it as much. So just like when I'm buffing, I cross cut. I'm going in one particular direction here, but then smooth it out. And I'll get the rest of that with the buffer. I'll be able to push really, really hard and get that. Same thing here. There's a little extra scuff here. I might put 30 seconds into extra rubbing, but after that I'm like, screw it. I've got a buffer. I know it can handle it. And it kills me as a detailer to see somebody treat their boat like this. Even though I know it's a rental, it just bothers me. Like, it's funny, if you've heard any of my rants and raves about boats, you know I hate them. You know, I generally don't like boat owners. It's not a personal thing. It's just I've seen enough stuff where, guys, seriously, why haven't you fixed this? Take care of something like this. Deal with this. But most people, as an example, this boat, when they have a scuff or a scratch on the side and it gets into the gel coat, they just use silicone to fix it. And yeah, I guess in an emergency that works, but I'm in Lake Chelan. I'm inland. I'm not fighting a war at sea. I'm not surviving. I'm just enjoying a boat. And at that point, I don't see the point of just using silicone. Anyway, this is all it takes. You're just basically rubbing it on, covering everything you can get your hands on. And where you see a section that has a little bit of a scuff mark or something that you know you're going to have to work extra hard on with the buffer, put a little extra product on there. Just give it something to work with. Don't be stingy. This stuff is, again, 3M cleaner wax, compound, and a little bit of liquid wax. So the liquid wax is soaking in and absorbing after I apply it. It's filling in all the pores of the gel coat. The cleaner wax's job is to smooth out the marks left behind by the compound. And it is compound, so it is going to leave some scratches behind. This is basically what you buy when you're buying an all-in-one or the 3M's medium cut with wax. That's all this is, guys. It's just a very specific version of it mixed up for this boat with the hopes that it can get through some of this nastiness down here, which it seems like it's able to do, while leaving behind a protective coating that will last anywhere from 6 to 8 months. This coating, this sealant, this wax will not last as long as had I done a full-on compounded wax. There's no way. And there's a bunch of reasons for that. I don't think I need to get into the science of how a surface reacts to things and how things bond to it, but realistically, this is a very half-assed way to do this. That being said, if you find that you have a fleet of boats to do, I can get this boat done in about 2.5 hours. And in that, they come back to a shiny boat. They're happy with it. It's easy to clean. And somebody's just going to ram it into a dock anyway. So let's be honest. Does it really need to be that great? No. It just needs to shine and look like a boat. When I'm done with this hull, I'll apply the wax just like you saw me do on the back transom here, both below the gunnel and above, and then I'll buff it off. Speaking of buffing it off, let's get into that, shall we? All right, got my pad. Obviously, we got some scuffs here, and here, and I'm just going to show you how I work into this, all right? I'm going to go down low speed. I'm going to lock the speed. So now I can just, it's a tool. It's just doing its thing. Now I can put some effort into this. I'm going to put my buffer handle against my hip, and then I have a little leverage. So I'm going to get into this, Oh, look how easy that comes out. That's a pretty deep scratch. I'm not going to be able to get that out. These are scratches. Those won't come out either. But this is just a scuff. That should just whoop. Cool. Edges first. Then your middles. Okay. So you can get a sense of where we're going with this. It's got a nice gloss. It's shiny. I've left a little bit of wax. You can see it. There's some there. There's a little bit of smegma right up in here. There's a sheen of wax on this boat. What I'm going to do is once I've grinded on it with my pad here, which is getting thoroughly gummed up. This is something I never do, and it's one of the reasons I don't use polishing pads for anything other than polishing, because they just absorb so much product. Blech. Anyway, once I get through with waxing this, I'll flip the pad over to the clean side and I'll smooth out all the wax that I left in. Meanwhile, while I've hit it with the buffer and smoothed it out, the wax that's left on is still absorbing constantly into this gel coat. So even though it looks shiny, there's still a sheen of wax on there, and that liquid wax is getting soaked up by the pores of the gel coat. So by the time I get down here and I work my way through the hull, I'll have gummed up that pad fairly thoroughly, and by that time it's time to flip it over and just polish out the other side, or polish out the boat with the other side. Anyway, that's what we'll be getting into. So for right now, I'm going to work my way probably, let's see, I stopped about here. I'll work down here, get this done. Or you know what? I might just continue. I'm just going to continue. I'll let this stuff soak on the hull for a little bit. I'll start right about here, and then we'll move forward, and then you'll get a sense of how long this takes. But I'm pretty sure it's about 40 minutes, minus the talking. So give me a sec. Then guys, I just flipped my pad over. I'm going to do that real quick. I haven't done this before. Ding. And now it's the same stuff in reverse, just a little bit lighter. And now it's just a matter of wiping this down, using again the soft side of the terry cloth towel, getting all the leftover wax that I can possibly get off this boat to reveal the finish and to take off some of the residual oils on the surface so that we can see what it looks like. Okay, so all the rough buffing's been done. I'm going to flip the pad over to a clean-ish side. Admittedly, it's not super clean, but it is better than this side. Hey, you know what I did? I put the pad on the other way. Picked the wrong day to quit smoking crack, clearly. Jeez. Alright. You good? I'll turn you a little bit this way. There you go. Alright, let's do it. And you can see we still got a little bit to go in the back, but it comes out pretty quick. So now a quick wipe down and the sides and the top are done. All I have to focus on is this, which will probably go by in about 10-15 minutes. Cleaning up the swim step, also probably another 15 minutes, but that's it. This boat's done in about 3 hours total. Osprey, sorry. Alright, so whenever you're waxing near non-skid and you get it a little bit built up in the non-skid, before it dries, hit it with a rag and wipe it out. If it dries, it gets to be kind of a pain in the butt to clean out. I don't particularly enjoy it. I doubt very much you would particularly enjoy it, so just deal with it now. And you might notice that this area was all gunked up with dirt and the compound looked really dirty, so you're probably thinking, oh Lee, you ground all that dirt into the gel coat. Do you see it? Do you see any dirt in the gel coat? No. And what are we talking about here? Dirt in the gel coat. Gel coat's always got dirt in it. Look at this little spider. That's all he wants to do is shit all over this boat. Yeah, you're good there. I don't actually hate spiders. I hate what they do to a boat. I don't hate them. Anyway, nope. Hey, you stay over there. You can come back when I'm done. Yeah, you just stay right there. Cool. You might be asking yourself, Lee, that hinges up. Why aren't you lifting it up and doing it? Again, this guy doesn't want to pay for a full detail. He's basically my least favorite customer's stereotype. The one that wants everything, and he wants it to last forever, but he doesn't want to pay for it. Okay. I'll give you the best I can do. With those parameters involved, I can give you a wax job that looks good, might last as long as you maintain it, and by maintain it, I mean you wash your boat every now and then, and make sure dirt doesn't sit on it. So I'm going to need to put a little bit more compound in the mix to get this ganky stuff off here, but it's okay. I'll be right back. Alright, I don't know if you can see this, but I've got a little bit of compound in the middle and then the wax mix that I've been using on the outside. I'm just going to slap this on here, kind of thick. Let that sit there for a second. not too long. Much better.
See if there's a boat in there?
There is.
Is it the Blue 18?
I couldn't tell you.
Okay. I just wanted to make sure it was in there.
I hate transoms, in case you're wondering. Hate them dearly. Never enjoyed working on them. I hate the back of boats, actually. I'd say that there shouldn't be a back of a boat, but then it'd pretty much just be a bathtub. So I suppose it's a good thing there's a back of the boat. I just wish I didn't have to wax it. Moreover, I wish people would just clean their boats when they took them out of the water so that you didn't have to clean them, because the stuff wouldn't dry. Gank up the back of your boat. But it's hard to get boaters to do the right thing, and no offense to boaters, they're mostly new to it. In other words, most people who have a boat, it's not like they grew up on boats. They just got one. That's why you see so much silicone as a repair item. You see duct tape as a repair item. You see guys putting polyglow all over a boat because they think that it looks good, so it must be good. It's not. It's ruining your boat. It's making it so no detailer that I know of would touch it. I won't touch them. I refuse to. But that's mostly because I put in my dues and I can be picky, I suppose. A little bit more wax around this engine towards the bottom. And this side's all done. And you guys know how greasy and black this area gets from the exhaust. So if you don't wax it, and you don't let that wax sit there for a little bit and soak in, all that oil and gas exhaust is going to sit right here and soak into your gel coat the entire summer. When you pull your boat out, you're going to be like, wow, that lake was really dirty. No, it was not the lake. It was your boat exhaust. Not that it's your fault, it's just, it is what it is. One more side to go. If you're wondering how swirled up this mix gets, not too much. Not too much. It's not the cleanest reflection I've ever seen, but it's nice. Looks clean. And the lines of swirl just travel down the length of the boat like they're supposed to. Ow! Let's pretend I didn't just hit the trailer hitch. Alright guys, it's almost 4 o'clock. Without talking to people, without adjusting the camera and doing the narration, I suppose this is a 3.5 hour boat. 1.5 hour per side, and done. And this will go back out in the fleet with its ripped up gunnel, and it'll be a little shiny boat sitting on the lake. Someone will be happy to rent it, I'm sure. But there you go. You wanted to know how to half-ass a boat? That's how you half-ass a boat. Three and a half hours, 4 hours. You guys can do this. You just have to get used to the idea that it's not going to shine like a brand new boat. It's just going to shine. And that's okay. Again, if you have fleet boats or you have a customer who just doesn't want to pay you anything, give them something that makes them think that they bought something. This might last 6 months. It might not. If this was your boat and you wanted to, you could apply a spray wax every couple months or a 303 aerospace protectant and just wipe the boat down, and it would probably keep this finish going for another year. I doubt very much that that is going to happen, even though I explained to the rental shop owner that that's what his crew of kids needs to do every time one of these comes back, is wipe it down. I doubt he will. He'll probably just have us wax it again next year. And that seems to be the way most boaters do it, and I guess that's why most boat detailers are still in business. Anyway, I'm done walking around this boat. It's time for beer number 3. You're going to see that it doesn't look gloriously shiny. It doesn't look like a brand new boat, but it does have a semi-decent gloss to it. And that reflection, the swirl that I've left on the line of the boat, follows that line of the boat all the way down. And if you do this, most people think that the boat looks amazing, like you just waxed it. Well, I did just wax it. I didn't do a great job of it. I mixed it. I half-assed it. But this guy's going to love it. I mean, anyone that has a gunnel like this and doesn't fix it, it's going to love this. Anyway, for the rest of the day, I'm going to go get my 3rd beer and enjoy myself and celebrate a little bit. As I alluded to earlier, I recently won my appeal for my divorce, which means that my ex right now is probably about as constipated as she's ever been in her life. Which is awesome, because all she had to do was treat me like a human being, somebody who cared about her and she cared for over 14 years. But instead, she decided to be just a piece of garbage. Just garbage. It doesn't matter. That case went forward. So far, it's successful for me. The Labor and Industries was the state investigating back wages that weren't paid to me. That's going my way. And so she's appealing that one, which of course is just a delay tactic, because if you knew all the details, basically she's just going, nuh-uh, what? Nuh-uh. And that's pretty much the entire basis of her appeal, which I suppose I expected after 2 years of dealing with her, and that's really the only thing she's got. Nuh-uh, no, Guys, if you're ever fighting somebody and the truth is on your side, keep fighting. There's no point in stopping. It's painful, it's expensive, it's arduous, it's gross, but in the end, the truth needs to come out. Anyway, thanks for showing up. If you guys have a fleet boat, you're looking at 3.5 hours, 4 hours if you're old like me and you have a beer. If you don't have a beer, 3.5 hours. Or better yet, if you've got a guy who's willing to help you, one guy can take the wax and put it on the top, and then one guy can follow with a buffer, and while he's doing that, the other guy, the first guy, can put wax on the hull. And then when he's done, the first guy can take the wax off, the second guy can take the wax off. This boat could actually be done in about 1.5 hours with 2 people. So if you've got 2 people and a fleet of boats, you can make a ton of money. If you're just one guy, you're kind of spending the money that you make on this boat while you're working on the boat. As an example, I think this probably works out to about $120, $150 worth of profit for me. That's not really enough. Now, if I needed the practice, or if I was brand new and I needed to earn business, hell yeah, $150 is more than I had yesterday, and I've got a customer who's now going to be praising me and telling all of his friends about me. But as a guy who's been doing this for almost 20 years, $150 is just next. Like, I'd really rather make about $500 for a boat like this, and with that I would do a much better job. Anyway, thanks for watching. Sorry this is so long and BS-y. All right, now you guys know how to half-ass a boat. If you have any questions, let me know. Thanks for watching.